The rain tasted like ash. It clung to Leo Maxwell's trench coat, a persistent reminder of the city's crime. He's been staring at the opulent townhouse across the street for an hour, the neon glow of the blue daily sign reflecting in the puddles at his feet. Inside, Victoria Sterling, a woman whose beauty could launch 1,000 lies, was hosting a party, and somewhere in that party, a man named Arthur Finch had breathed his last. Maxwell was a private investigator, a retriever of lost things and unearther of secrets. Finch, a low-level accountant with a penchant for gambling debts, had been found slumped over his ledger, a single bullet hole marring his temple. The cops called it a robbery gone wrong. Finch's wife, Elena, a delicate creature with eyes brimming with unshed tears, called Maxwell. She suspected foul play, and Mrs. Finch paid well. The townhouse pulsed with jazz music and laughter, a stark contrast to the summer rain and Maxwell's grim mood. He's not a man for parties, preferring the shadows and the quiet hum of a well-placed eavesdrop. But tonight he needed information. He needed to see Victoria Sterling. He flashed his credentials to the bored-looking doorman, the beefy character named Rocco, who seemed more interested in polishing his shoes than verifying identities. "Mr. Maxwell, Mrs. Finch sent me." Rocco shrugged, waved him through. "Don't cause any trouble." Maxwell nodded, stepping into a world of silk gowns and expensive cologne. The air was thick with perfume and desperation. He scanned the room, his eyes settling on Victoria Sterling. She was even more striking in person, the flame of crimson hair and emerald eyes framed by a diamond necklace that could finance a small country. He navigated the crowd, dodging a drunken senator and a giggling debutante. Reaching Victoria wasn't difficult. She stood near a grand piano, a glass of champagne in her hand, pulled in court with a circle of admirers. "Mrs. Sterling," Maxwell said, his voice low and steady. Victoria turned, her eyes cool and assessing. "Mr. Maxwell, a pleasure. Though I'm not sure what a private investigator would want with me." "Mr. Finch's widow asked me to look into his death," Maxwell said, cutting through the pleasantries. Victoria's smile didn't waver, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "A tragedy, of course. Such a promising young man. I hardly knew him." "He was your accountant," Maxwell pointed out. "A professional relationship," Victoria corrected. "Nothing more." Maxwell knew she was lying. He smelled lies before. It's a bitter scent, like burnt sugar. He had some gambling debts, quite substantial, I understand. Victoria shrugged. "A common affliction in this city. Nothing to do with me." Maxwell let that hang in the air for a moment, watching her. He's learned that sometimes the best way to get someone to talk is to let them think they're in control. His ledger was quite detailed, mentioned several transfers of funds to an offshore account, registered to a shell corporation. Victoria's composure finally cracked, just a flicker, a tightening around her eyes. But Maxwell saw it. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Let me rephrase," Maxwell said, his voice hardening. "Mr. Finch was skimming money from your enterprises. Isn't that right?" Victoria didn't answer. Instead, she signaled to a man standing near the bar, a man with a face like granite and eyes like a shard. "Mr. Morty," she said smoothly, "I believe Mr. Maxwell has overstayed his welcome." Morty started moving towards Maxwell, his gait slow and deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. Maxwell knew he could handle Morty, his face tougher, but he also knew that confronting Victoria Sterling in a room full of her friends wouldn't get him any closer to the truth. "I'm just asking a few questions, Mrs. Sterling," Maxwell said, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. "Nothing personal." "I think you're finished asking questions," Morty grunted, blocking his path. Maxwell took a step back, his eyes scanning the room. He needed an exit strategy. Then he saw her, a woman in a simple black dress, standing near a window, observing the scene with an expression of quiet intensity. Her eyes met his, and he saw a flicker of recognition. He knew her. Clara Bellweather, a former reporter who's fallen out of favor with the city's elite. He nodded softly in her direction, a silent plea for assistance. Clara understood. She walked towards them, her movements graceful and purposeful. "Gentlemen," she said, her voice clear and resonant. "I believe Mr. Maxwell was just about to share some very interesting information with us." Victoria's eyes narrowed at Clara. "And who are you?" "A friend," Clara replied, her smile enigmatic. "A friend who's very interested in the sudden demise of Mr. Finch." Victoria hesitated, clearly unsure how to handle the situation. Maxwell seized the opportunity. "I'm going to need to see Mr. Finch's financial records, Mrs. Sterling," he said, his voice leaving no room for argument. "And I'm going to need a full list of your employees, and I suggest you cooperate. Otherwise, I'm sure the police would be very interested in hearing about your involvement." Victoria's face was a mask of barely concealed fury. Fine, she hissed, but I want you gone by morning, and I want you to stay out of my affairs. That's not my decision to make, Maxwell replied, turning to leave. As he walked towards the door, he felt Clara's eyes on his back. He glanced back and saw her smiling faintly. He knew she'd seen something, knew she held a piece of the puzzle, but he also knew that she wouldn't share it with him unless she trusted him. Outside, the rain had stopped. The city lights shimmered on the wet pavement, reflecting a world of secrets and lies. Maxwell pulled his trench coat tighter around him, the scent of ash clinging to the fabric. The next few days were a blur of paperwork and dead-end leads. Maxwell pored over Finch's financial records, piecing together a tangled web of transactions. He discovered that Finch hadn't just been skimming money. He's been blackmailing Victoria Sterling, threatening to expose her illegal dealings with a notorious crime syndicate. He also learned that Finch hadn't been alone. He's been working with someone on the inside, someone who had access to his financial records and knew his schedule, someone who could have easily arranged his death. Maxwell focused his attention on Victoria Sterling's inner circle, questioning her employees, her associates, her enemies. He discovered that one of her accountants, a young woman named Evelyn Reed, had been having an affair with Finch. Evelyn claimed to be shocked and saddened by his death, but Maxwell sensed that she was hiding something. He confronted Evelyn, pressing her for the truth. At first, she denied any involvement, but under Maxwell's relentless questioning, she finally broke down. She admitted that she had been helping Finch with his blackmail scheme, but she claimed that she hadn't killed him. I loved him, she saw. He promised to leave Victoria and run away with me. Did he tell you who was going to kill him? Maxwell asked, his voice gentle. Evelyn hesitated, her eyes darting nervously around the room. He said it was someone close to Victoria, someone she trusted. Maxwell knew he was getting close to the truth, but he also knew that he was running out of time. Victoria Sterling was a dangerous woman, and she wouldn't let him expose her secrets without a fight. He returned to the townhouse, intending to confront Victoria Sterling one last time, but as he approached the door, he noticed something different. The house was dark, silent. No music, no laughter. Just an unsettling stillness that sent a chill down his spine. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The house was empty. Victoria Sterling and her entourage were gone, vanished without a trace. Maxwell knew that she wouldn't stay away for long. She's a predator, and predators always return. He also knew that he would be waiting for her. He would be waiting to expose her secrets, to bring her to justice. As he turned to leave, he noticed a single photograph lying on the floor. It was a picture of Victoria Sterling smiling radiantly, standing next to a man he recognized. It was Clara Bellweather, the former reporter who's helped him expose her secrets. Maxwell stared at the photograph, a wave of realization washing over him. Clara Bellweather hadn't been a friend. She's been a pawn, a carefully placed operative working for Victoria Sterling. She's lured him into a trap, using him to flush out her enemies. He felt a sudden pang of betrayal, a crushing weight of despair. He's been used, manipulated, played for a fool. As he stepped out into the night, he knew that his investigation was far from over. He stumbled into something far bigger than he's ever imagined, a tangled web of deceit and treachery that reached the highest levels of power. He looked up at the city lights, shimmering on the wet pavement. The rain had started again, a relentless downpour washing away the grime of the city. But some stains, he knew, would never wash away. He was just one then, armed with a trench coat and a burning desire for justice. But he wouldn't be silenced. He wouldn't be deterred. He would keep digging, keep searching until he uncovered the truth, no matter the cost.